WWE Raw review for the September 8th episode of Raw. I'm Will, that's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling,
After a pretty shocking SmackDown, you roll it right over into Monday Night Raw, creep it a little bit closer to WrestlePalooza.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun episode, actually. Thank you guys for stopping by the live stream, youtube.com/CODWrestlePod for Raw, SmackDown, and PLEs. Let's get right into this thing, though, because the Usos started the show, not just Jey. It was Big Jim and Jey. They came down from the rafters. Big Jim was loving it. He even let Jey hit the encore again. Everybody was having a good time. They said that the Usos are now in Yo City and that the Vision screwed up messing with them. And that's when the Vision didn't even let them basically talk more than that. They were like, they screwed up, and the Vision came on out. Braun and Bronson Reed did. Braun Breaker says that the Vision run Raw. Actually, the dogs run Raw, is what he said. And he's still mad at the whole Uso family and the bloodline, I guess, specifically, for what they did to Paul Heyman at Clash in Paris, and said that they put Roman in the hospital, and now it's time for the Usos to get put in the hospital there as well. And that's when Bronson Reed took the mic. He wanted them to acknowledge him, even though he no longer has a Shula Fala or anything to really acknowledge. He says that Big Jim was never a target, but now that he wanted to come over to Raw and step foot into this, that he's now next. He's going to be put in the hospital as well. That's when Big Jim said, no, he's happy to be here. He's happy to help. And he said that they are the twos and the Usos are the ones. So they can't mess with this thing. And he mentions that they already spoke to Adam Pearce, and at WrestlePalooza, it will be a tag team match with the Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed taking on the Usos. But Jey Uso is like, I don't want to wait for that. I want to fight right here, right now. But that's when LA Knight out of nowhere comes and attacks Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed from the back. He starts beating him up, but then he gets beat up by the time he gets put into the ring. And of course, all hell ends up breaking loose, and Jey, Jim, and LA Knight kind of get the advantage here. But at one point, Bronson Reed shoves LA Knight into the corner where Jey Uso is. LA Knight stops himself, and he's looking at Jey like, hey, we're good. I stopped myself. But LA Knight just so happened to move right when Bronson Reed comes over to do a tackle, and he ends up hitting Jey Uso. Jey's looking at LA Knight like, what the hell? Why'd you do that to me? So that's kind of how the ending of the beginning of Raw starts. We set up a match later on with LA Knight and Bronson Reed, but it is official. We are going to get the tag team match of Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed taking on the Usos at WrestlePalooza. I'm excited for all that. I'll pop all this.
Yeah, I'm going to pop all this as well. In terms of the tag match at WrestlePalooza, we spoke a little bit about it before. You get the Usos coming back together. Even just the promo tonight with Jimmy talking about, they're the twos, we're the ones, that sort of thing, and him talking, and then Jey throwing in a word talk. Just felt like old Usos. It just felt nice. It felt great. Almost like a Uso Penitentiary Days a little bit, not necessarily full-blown, right? But little hints of it there. Really, really good stuff. The Vision coming out, I was kind of just like, okay, yeah, we got to do this. You're kind of just going through the motions, right? But it is kind of like a full, clear, clean break, a clear divide, right? The Brawns and then Rollins. So they're kind of doing their own thing, which is kind of nice to see them standing on their own 2 feet. All in all, good stuff. LA Knight here comes out with the little run out and everything like that. Sets up the main event match. You're like, okay, as we have gotten for a while now, you get your opening segment leading to your main event, and you know how it's going to go.
Yeah, the LA Knight stuff, we'll get to that a little bit later. In terms of the match, I'm very, very excited. I'm with you. It does feel like Braun and Bronson are kind of separating from the Seth Rollins stuff. We all know they're the Vision, but I like that we're kind of just like fully letting Braun and Bronson sink or swim at the moment. And they're swimming, in my opinion, especially Braun Breaker. I mean, he can do no wrong. He just has it all. And even on the mic, like he kind of stuttered during his promo, but he just turned it into like him going crazy and barking, and the whole crowd was into it. So it's like he can do absolutely no wrong. I do think that we need to get some shoes around Bronson Reed if you want to keep up this tribal thief thing going. I mean, you can't be a tribal thief with absolutely nothing around your neck, but the match at WrestlePalooza is going to be great. Can't wait to see the Usos back in action together, so I'm ready for it.
Yeah, maybe it's not just shoes. Go ahead and drop in the comments below your top things you want Bronson Reed to take.
Yeah, top 5 things Bronson Reed should steal. Video coming out this week. LA Knight was yelling at Pierce in the back about this. That's how we got the match with him and Bronson Reed later in the night. That's when we would get our first match of the night, which was AJ Styles taking on El Grande Americano. But before El Grande Americano could even make it to the ring, AJ Lee does a sliding baseball drop kick to the man and starts beating the hell out of him. He throws him off the barricade barricade, off the steel steps, and off the post, and then he puts him in the ring, and then he clotheslines him outside of the ring, and then the bell rings.
Mm-hmm.
Can't start the match when both people aren't ready. That seems a little biased toward the face of the match. I mean, come on now. But right away, almost, we'd have Pequeño Grande walk out or run out there and try to help the situation. That's when El Grande would actually get the advantage in the match. He'd send AJ Styles into the steel steps. Of course, Grande was distracting the ref while that happened, so we're good there. But this ended up being a fantastic match. I mean, AJ Styles is pulling out everything. He's pulling out exploders. He even did like a Blue Thunder Bomb-esque move. I don't even know what you'd call that, where he had him on his shoulders and turned it into a Blue Thunder Bomb. That was nice. El Grande did like a top rope blockbuster to AJ, so they were putting on an absolute show. Eventually, though, small Grande, Pequeño Grande would hop up on the rope, but Dragon Lee was here this time to come out and make sure that that wasn't going to get involved. El Grande would try to roll up AJ Styles, but he would turn that into a Styles clash. Hits it, 1, 2, 3. AJ Styles wins, so we're continuing the AJ Styles versus the Luchadors to maybe work our way back to Dom. But in terms of a match, this was fantastic. I'll pop it.
Yeah, I'm going to pop it. It was fun. It was probably the word I would use to describe it. Yeah, you had interference from Pequeño Americano. No Trace Americano today. I don't know where Trace is. Yeah, it must have not been there, I guess. AJ Styles match, your classic match. It's always solid. He always is good with anybody in the ring. Nice to see El Grande. It's been a while, I think, since we've actually seen El Grande on like a Raw wrestle. His moveset, a little bit different than what you may be accustomed to, but it's nice. It's cool to see some of that kind of stuff happen. Like I said, that top rope like blockbuster thing is super cool. Every time he does it, I'm like, I didn't know he had that in him, but good stuff.
Yeah, not much to write home about. We're going to get through Triple Mania, which is next week. We'll see if AJ is still in the IC scene, I'm guessing, because Dom's with this El Grande stuff. So, I mean, we're going to get good matches like this where you have El Grande and AJ Styles go out there and put on a banger. Like, there's not much more to say. It's just good stuff. I'm down for it. It's good. We would have Io Sky in the back talking Adam Pearce because we were supposed to get contract signing tonight between Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer, but for some reason, Stephanie ain't here. They're kind of playing it like she's injured. Adam Pearce makes sure that Io knows that she will be prepared for the WrestlePalooza match. But that's when Nikki Bella comes in and she starts to talk to Io Sky. You know, she wants to talk to her about the match later on. But Asuka, you know, anybody that talks to Io is no friend of Asuka's. So Asuka gets in the middle and she says, "You stay away, Miss Nikki Bella." And Nikki basically says, "Look, I'm tired of you disrespecting me. We're going one-on-one tonight." So that match is going to happen later. That was a fun time.
One-on-one with the Fearless One.
Ooh, I like that. We will get another great match here. Lyra Valkyria taking on Raquel Rodriguez. And this was great. These two had all the chemistry in the freaking world. It was awesome. I mean, of course, they do the whole Raquel's big thing. So Lyra's trying to cut down the tree to start the match. She's doing a bunch of like submission maneuvers, going for the legs. But like Raquel's also trying to slam her and get Lyra down, but she just couldn't do it. I mean, it was great at the beginning of this match. I really thought it was absolutely great. Eventually, though, Raquel would get a position where she's like pulling Lyra's hair and her legs around the post, which would injure Lyra's back. And the rest of the match, Raquel was really going hard at her back, which was really good stuff. There's this really, really cool thing I want to talk about where Lyra was going for the sunset flip off the top rope, but Raquel was too strong. And so Lyra was like upside down hanging, trying to get the sunset flip onto Raquel. And she ended up getting it, but it took her a while. And that was just a really cool addition to make Raquel look really strong here.
When she lands and then she like kicks back up to go get the
freaking awesome
momentum again.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. Eventually though, Roxanne would get involved, but Lyra would kind of take care of her. And then like a good 2 minutes went by and Lyra went to the top rope, but Raquel walked over there, grabbed her by the neck, hit the Tahana bomb. 1, 2, 3. Raquel gets the win over Lyra. Pretty clean here. Rox got involved, but there was a good amount of offense afterward. I love this. Popping all of it.
Yeah, she got involved, but I mean, it wasn't really anything to like write home about, right? It didn't lead directly to it or anything like that. And admittedly, Raquel had enough offense to really kind of stand on her own to where like you didn't really need it. I think the only reason you got it is because next week we do get Lyra versus Roxanne. So that's the only reason that even happened, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of the actual match stuff, this would be a great like IC title feud. I know obviously Lyra can't challenge while Becky has the title, all that stuff. But there was rumors about Raquel getting the world title, right? Those don't really seem to be happening, but that just speaks to how much she's improved over and over and over again. And Lyra's been great. So it's nice to see Lyra wrestle again because that's where, you know, the bread's made. Is that what people say? I don't know. That's what she's good at.
Yeah.
I don't know what the saying is, but good stuff here. All in all, good stuff.
Cookies.
I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
Somebody let us know.
I get what
we're
you're saying.
butchering this, but yeah, good stuff. Raquel gets the win here. Big Raquel fan here, so sign me up.
Yep. I'm not going to reiterate everything you said. Yeah, 100%. I was expecting Bailey to get involved here. I was expecting maybe a beatdown afterward. We were going to get the Bailey reveal. We don't get that tonight. We just get a good old-fashioned match between Lyra and Raquel. I'm 100% with you. These two have all the chemistry in the world. I'd pair them more often together in a match, maybe down the line, an IC feud. That'd be great for Raquel as well. So down for that. Speaking of Bailey, though, we would get a Bailey promo later in the night. She's still sitting in her room, this time a locker room. She's still fighting the demons in her head. This time that there was a clear, like, color-coded difference between the Hugger Bailey, which is the face Bailey, and the Ding Dong Hello Bailey, which is the heel Bailey. The Hugger had like more of like a purple green, like her old outfits, her
purple,
colors.
blue, bright.
Yeah, bright versus dark. So that's still happening with Bailey. Maybe we get that soon, but it feels like we're kind of ready for that. Lyra is doing good matches, but it's time to insert Bailey into this because during the promo, she is talking about how she wants Lyra to forgive her. She was the last person on earth she wanted to hurt, but Bailey can't even find a reason to forgive herself. So she's fighting in her head more and more. So we're just waiting on the Lyra Bailey stuff, basically.
Yeah, pretty much just waiting on it. Somebody made a really good point. I think it was JT in our chat saying that maybe AJ Lee coming back is why maybe that's been delayed a little bit because we were all thought, hey, Bailey's going to come back. She's going to feud there. She's going to get catapulted to that IC title versus Becky Lynch. So maybe that's part of it. Yeah, like you're saying, ready for it. I'm a little bit nervous in terms of like the live reaction, like the live execution, I should say. Like, I don't know how that's going to go. That's a really tough thing to pull off. So a little hesitant on that, but Bailey's great. Bailey's fantastic. Sounds like maybe next week we'll be getting it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Honestly, I'm ready for it. Yeah, it's going to be hard to execute, but we'll see. I'm down. Penta's backstage though with Adam Pearce. He tells the War Raiders, thank you for last week. But he goes, everybody loves Penta, but you, Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce is like, what do you mean? I like Penta. And Penta's like, well, then give me an IC title shot because I'd be doing good work here. So
fair.
like,
I mean,
give me the IC title shot. And Pearce is like, well, I mean, and then Rusev walks up. And of course they disagree. Rusev is like, I killed Sheamus, therefore I get title shot. And Pearce is like, oh, look at this. We happen to be on a wrestling show, which I didn't book enough matches on. How about you two fight tonight? And so they were like, hell yeah, let's do the thing. We would get a little backstage segment as well. AJ and Dragon Lee are in the back, and AJ's like, thank you, Dragon Lee. Big Jim walks up to him, and they kind of just give each other high fives. But that's when Big Jim looks over, and Jay's leaving. Jay's got a suitcase. He's out. Big Jim's like, wait, what are you doing? LA Knight's got a match against Division tonight. We got to be there to help the man. And Jay's like, why? Why are we helping? He attacked me tonight. You know, he got me hit basically by Bronson Reed. He moved out of the way. And Big Jim's like, there was an accident, man, and everybody needs to just focus on the vision. We need to stop thinking about ourselves. And Jay basically is like, no, we need to start thinking about us. Helping LA Knight won't get us to WrestlePalooza, blah, blah, blah. And Big Jim is like, bro, you're starting to sound like Roman Reigns. And Jay said, well, sounding like myself hasn't done me much lately, so I guess I'll sound like whatever you think I'm going to sound like. So that's pretty good. That's good little stuff.
Yeah. Unexpected. They started to sound like Roman. I said, oh.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk more about that a little bit later here. Then we get the good stuff. This is a long one. I'll be looking down at my sheet a little bit. We record right after the show, so this is what we got to do. But AJ Lee is here. She made her big return on Smack It Down on Friday, of course. If you want to see her reaction, look at our TikTok Reacts page or go back and watch our stuff. It was great. But she walks out with the IC title around her waist. She's still skipping around with that Becky's title that she picked up when Becky bolted on SmackDown the other day. And she gets in the ring and she says, sorry for keeping you waiting. So that was a great little thing. She introduces herself again to the 10-year-olds that are there that never experienced her, right? She says, I'm your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler. She said that she thought she was done with wrestling and she went to accomplish other goals and she went and did that. She said she also got her mind right. She did a therapy chant. She said she went to therapy and all that. She turned her mental issues into a superpower. The crowd loved this. They were chanting therapy. It was really good. She said she was all good with her wrestling career until Raw when she watched Becky hit her husband. And she said she used to like Becky. They could even be friends. But before she can continue, Becky came out pissed, seething, and all red because she's like, you have my freaking title, Miss AJ Lee. Please give me that back. She calls herself the GOAT, says that, she's not the only one saying it, right? Everybody's saying it. She says she even turns the therapy thing on her. She says, I'm going to need therapy after this. Says that AJ doesn't deserve to even touch the title with one single finger. And AJ starts laughing because she forgot that she's even wearing the title. She says that she slept in the title. She bathed with the title, which made bathing and getting dressed a little bit hard this morning. And that's when Becky would get so mad, she took off her glasses and she had a big old shiner on her face from when AJ punched her on SmackDown, and AJ jokingly apologizes. She's laughing during this entire thing, and she takes the title off, lays it right in the middle of the ring on that great Slim Jim logo, and says, if you want it, how about you come and get it? And that's when Becky starts going off, and she says that this isn't even about AJ, this is about her gross husband and Seth. This is all about Seth and Punk and all this stuff. And she says, you know what? I'm just going to bring Seth out here anyways, and he can talk to you about this. So his music hits. Seth comes out, and Seth is just annoyed about the whole situation, really. And he takes the mic, and he's like, okay, AJ, just be professional here. Just give her the belt back. Make it easy. And, of course, nobody likes that, right? And AJ says, you got two options. Either Becky can come get this belt, and I'm going to give her another shiner on that other eye. Or two, I'll give you back the belt if you agree to a mixed tag team match at WrestlePalooza. And of course they go, no. But Seth decides to get in the ring with AJ because he wants to take the title back himself. AJ gets in his way though. And that's when the crowd starts going wild. Camera turns and Punk bumps Becky on the way up to the ring. Mm-hmm. His shoulders are pretty good.
She backs up into him. Yeah. Oh, good shot.
She shoulders him really well.
Shout out to Stu.
Shout out to Stu. And Punk rolls into the ring. He gets Seth on his shoulders for a GTS, but that slimy Seth, he's able to get off and back away. Seth is so seething with anger that he agrees to the mixed tag team match, and it ends with AJ Lee being very happy, taking the belt and throwing it back at Becky Lynch. So it is official. We are getting the mixed tag team match. It will be AJ Lee and CM Punk taking on Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins at WrestlePalooza. I think we're all down for this. Popping all of it.
Yeah, I don't know how you couldn't pop this. I feel like if you didn't pop it, you maybe just wrestling's not for you. And I mean that in like the nicest way possible. But when I say that, like AJ Lee comes back, she cuts a promo for the first time in years, right? She talks about all of her struggles, which some people know pretty well. Some people might not. So nice for her to kind of talk about the real life struggles that she's gone through and address them. And the crowd is openly supporting her. You have her going back at Becky. You got Becky playing just the perfect heel role here. She hides behind Seth when she talked about Punk hiding behind AJ, but now she's hiding behind Seth, and now Seth's got to come get the title and all this stuff. It's just gold. I mean, it fully bought into this stuff. And then, we're getting the match. We all knew that. It's official. You have Seth agree to it where Becky, it says no, like Becky's very, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this sort of thing. So it's all just gold.
Yeah. I mean, it does feel like they're setting up a little bit of friction between Becky and Seth because Becky's like, what the hell? Why would you say yes? And Seth is just seething because he's done with all of this stuff. So that's going to be interesting and fun. Immediately, I look at this and I'm like, right after this, let's just immediately send AJ after that IC title because that's obviously the money feud in the women's division. That title is bigger than all the other women's titles combined at this point, in my opinion. And Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee is what everybody wants after this one promo. I mean, that feud's going to be fantastic. I'm excited as can be. AJ looked fantastic on a mic again. She's still got that crazy in her. She's still just very energetic in the ring. It's absolutely great. This is the match we all wanted and we're all getting it. Couldn't be more excited for WrestlePalooza because of it. We'll move on though. That's when we get Penta versus Rusev. Mm-hmm. This was something. It was a match. It was a match. There was no number one contendership on the line. It was kind of implied that like this is a stepping stone to get the IC
number
title
2
shot.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe
this is number 2.
I don't know. We start the match and Rusev basically shot puts Penta at the announce table. Like they fall out of the ring and he shot puts him. But then Penta moves out of the way and Rusev hits the stairs. So we even out there. But the match will be pretty quick. We get back to it. New Day do come out and Penta's like, okay, I'm going to take them out real quick. He dives, takes them out. And then Rusev gets out of the ring and Penta tries to do another dive to take out Rusev and them. But Rusev takes the advantage of the moment, punches him. Penta would end up getting a Mexican destroyer and stuff like that. But then Xavier Woods would pop back up on the apron while Penta's on the top rope, distract him. Penta jumps off the top rope, and Rusev gives him a huge super kick. I mean, just catches him, nails him. 1, 2, 3. Rusev
like a pump super kick.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But Rusev gets the win over Penta here. We're still doing the Penta New Day stuff. I'm going to give this a drop. I'm not interested in the Penta New Day stuff. When he wanted the IC title match, I was much more interested because I was like, ooh, we can get Penta versus AJ Styles. So I was kind of getting my hopes up for that. Bought out on Rusev, really. I'm dropping this.
Yeah, I'm going to drop it as well. Don't really have much more to add here. I mean, yeah, when Penta says that, you're like, oh, you get a 5-star match with him and AJ Styles. If Dom somehow keeps that title, okay, him and Dom, that sounds great. That feeds into like the whole luchador thing as well, right? King of the luchadors. Penta could take that title, something like that. Not bought in on Rusev, not bought in on the New Day Penta stuff. Penta obviously needs some help, so maybe that's where a Rey Fenix and Andrade, maybe they come over. But then at that point, you're depleting. I know SmackDown has tag teams to kind of give, but it's also just like, man,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
So Penta should be doing better things. When Penta says, hey, you don't love Penta, put me in more prominent stuff, I'm like, yeah, Penta, you're right.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
I completely agree. We need to be putting Penta in the IC title scene. Like, you could do a number one contender match with him and AJ Styles. Like, yes, just do that. Even give me a triple threat match. I don't know. I'm just not interested in the New Day versus Penta. I'm with you. He needs backup. Maybe you get Rey Fenix coming over. I don't know. Yeah, not much more to say on it. I'm just not bought into the whole situation at the moment.
Nope.
But we get LA Knight and Big Jim backstage, and Big Jim was basically being the CM Punk before Clash, because he's like, hey, that was an accident earlier, right? And LA Knight's like, yes. And Big Jim just wants everybody to fight the Vision, but LA Knight's like, you know what? I want everybody to stay out of my way because obviously we can't trust each other and everything, so just let me handle my business later. So that's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we get Nikki Bella versus Asuka. This ended up being a good one. Asuka and Nikki, they worked stiff, man. They were kicking the hell out of each other throughout this match. They beat the hell out of each other, really.
Someone call it a dream match.
Someone call it a dream match. They did start the whole match with like a battle of the wills where they're basically testing each other's strength, which was really good. Nikki hit a spine buster. Asuka did lead a lot of this match. She was beating the hell out of Nikki for most of it. There was a nice little spot on the outside where she used Kyrie as a human shield and then got the advantage on Nikki with that. So that was pretty good. Eventually, though, we get an Asuka lock that Nikki gets out of, but then Asuka hits her with the Empress Impact and then puts her in another Asuka lock. And Nikki Bella ends up tapping. So that was a big deal. But the bigger stuff happened after the match because Nikki Bella and Asuka run into each other backstage, and Asuka's just talking that smack, and Nikki starts getting physical again and is like, you want to go again, even though she just lost. And that's when Rhea Ripley shows up. Rhea Ripley shows up to back up Nikki Bella, and they basically go back and forth with Asuka, and Asuka just makes sure that everybody knows that she's scared of absolutely nobody right now. But that was pretty much it for the night. So Rhea Ripley comes to the aid of Nikki Bella to maybe set up a Nikki and Rhea versus the Kabuki Warriors tag team action. Sign me up for that, man. I'm popping all of this.
Yeah, I'm going to pop it as well. I think, admittedly, I would rather just have Rhea versus Asuka, but it seems like we are going to end up going that tag route, which Asuka and Kyrie are great as the Kabuki Warriors. So sign me up for that. Rhea and Nikki, we'll see how that kind of interaction goes in terms of building the teamwork. I'm sure they're going to be fine. The match probably at like a crown jewel sounds about right. Sounds like, that's a month away, roughly. So sign me up for that. The match here tonight was fine. Nothing crazy, nothing special, but it progressed that part of the storyline, I guess. So all in all, even though I'm not like overwhelmingly yes for this, it was still good. Yeah,
Nikki Bella and Rhea Ripley on the same team for like a one-off against Kabuki Warriors to progress the whole EO storyline. Sure thing. Give me that all day long. I mean, Rhea hasn't been doing much. Nikki's willing to put herself on the line weekly at this point, it looks like, which is absolutely great to see. And then Asuka is like right there from being back to being as hot as she's ever been. I mean, I love this new character. Her yelling Kyrie and getting her to come back whenever she's staying around the enemies. It's always a funny stuff. So I'm bought into this whole storyline. I'm looking forward to what's next on it, basically.
Yeah, and actually, before we move on, it really... that segment, I should have said this when I was speaking, but this segment right here makes me think that EO's chances of taking that title just skyrocket, because at this point, then you could run literally a Rhea EO, or you could run an Asuka EO. Like, you could basically no Steph on TV again.
Yeah.
And then EO's chances, because EO's involved in this stuff. This is the hottest stuff on Raw besides the Vision stuff, right? It seems like EO's chances just went through the roof.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, if you're not going to put Steph on TV and EO's involved in this big storyline, it feels like you're going to put the belt on Io, and then you're going to do all the tag team stuff around her, and then you just see how it unfolds, and you have the title belt right there for your disposal with Io versus Asuka or Io, Asuka, Rhea, all that stuff.
It sounds to me like an Io Asuka. I mean,
Yeah.
the end goal, that's kind of what people want. It seems like that might be what you get.
100%. We would get a little bit of a Judgment Day celebration, celebrating Raquel, because we do have Lyra versus Roxanne set up for next week. Dom walks in and like, "What the hell you been all day?" And Dom's like, "Hey, I'm just getting myself ready for my Triple Mania match this Friday night." And Finn's like, "It seems like the El Grande stuff is getting ahead of you, and they are gonna want something at the end of the day." And Dom kind of has a little pissy fit. he's like, "I'm out of here," basically. And Roxanne's the one that ends up and goes and talk to him. So more on that, maybe.
Finn says people don't do anything without getting stuff owed to them, which makes me think, well, then why did Roxanne join the Judgment Day, Finn?
Yeah.
That's where my mind went, at least.
Yeah. We would get our main event, LA Knight versus Bronson Reed, who also had Braun Breaker by his side, which, I mean, we could cover the whole match. This went about how division matches in the main event normally go. It was Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker cheating their way around to make sure that LA Knight wasn't going to get the win here. And that's exactly what happened. LA Knight eventually does get pinned by Bronson Reed with the help of Braun Breaker getting involved with all that. But we all know shenanigans happens, and that's where the important stuff ends up working itself in. Because when Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker start attacking LA Knight, Big Jim comes out to help, but Big Jim ain't enough for Big Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. And Braun Breaker spears that man's socks off.
Yeah, he gets a couple super kicks in, and then bam.
And the question is, did Jay actually leave? Is he going to help after what he said earlier? Well, he is here, and Jay appears, and he comes in there, and he gets his socks speared off. So everybody
gets his like rock moves in with his little
yeah, he does his thing, but he gets his socks speared off. And it looks like Braun Breaker is setting up the Usos like he was stacking them for Bronson Reed to tsunami both of them at once. But when Bronson Reed goes to the top, LA Knight shows up with a chair and he starts beating the hell out of both of them with a chair. And of course, the Vision scatter. Ow, ow, chairs hurt. And LA Knight walks over to Jay first and says, you see now? Like, you see I'm helping you now? And then he walks over. He offers a hand to Big Jim. He helps him up. Big Jim and LA Knight, they dap up. They're all good. Camera's doing a great work. It's staying on LA Knight and it's staying on Big Jim, and they're chilling. LA Knight turns and looks at the Vision. You know, he does his thing where he yells at him. He turns and Jey Uso spears freaking LA Knight out of nowhere. Just takes him out. Right after LA Knight helped this man. He just saved the day. He was about to get tsunami'd, but this man got up and speared the man who just helped him. So Raw ends with Jey Uso spearing the socks off of LA Knight after LA Knight helped the man. Are we maybe leaning heel for Jey Uso? Popping all of it.
I'm going to drop the match.
Okay.
And I'm going to pop the shenanigans afterwards. Are we turning Jay heel? The hints are there, I should say, right? Everything at least is lining up. He's a lot like Roman. It seems like everybody is really kind of wondering who Jay is, because Jay even says, hey, being myself doesn't really work for me. So he's turning into really somebody else, right? He's hinting at it. Even tonight, he spears LA Knight, and then he says, oh, well, now we're even. Now we're good. And I'm like, well, this doesn't make any sense. He's not really using his brain, right? I would be shocked. I know we talked about it a little bit before. I would be shocked if they turn Jey Uso heel, but those seem to be the seeds that they're planting. So it's like, if they don't do this, then why did they have this happen? I mean, I sit there and I think about it, and everybody maybe thinks like LA Knight heel turn, right? Well, LA Knight as a heel versus a face doesn't really have a drastic change. I don't think there's much of a difference, right, in terms of heel LA Knight, face LA Knight. But a heel Jey Uso versus a face Jey Uso, that would be a drastic change. That would be a big character switch. So he might be the one. He's the clubhouse leader.
Man, I don't see them doing it, but this Raw got me thinking, and having him turn against a guy like LA Knight, I think would be absolutely awesome. And having his brother involved with it, pointing out that he's starting to sound like a Roman Reigns. You're doing full circle bloodline storyline work there as well then. So it's adding a bunch of really interesting layers to it. I didn't see the spear coming at all. He speared LA Knight, and I was like, the hell are you doing, man? He just saved you. So we're definitely planting the seeds in everybody's heads for a Jey Uso heel turn. It would be ballsy because he's the most over face that they've probably got in the business right now on a weekly basis. But if you're asking me, I hope they do, because that'd be an awesome character change for Jey Uso, and having him fight such an over LA Knight right away, I think would boost both of them to the stars. So I'm here for it if they do it.
I mean, it's hard to like put into words because it would be crazy.
Yeah,
it would be absolutely crazy. I know some people have kind of thrown it out there as him being the fourth member of the Vision, but you're like, there's no chance. There's no way.
I don't see that, I guess, but
And so, well, I mean, what, you think he just turns and he goes on his own?
yeah, I think Jay's ready to fully go on his own again. He's kind of tired being wrapped in any of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, my whole thing though is, I mean, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, if he turns heel, then he's on his own, and then it's like, but then you have to deal with the whole heel faction, but then you're on your own, like,
yeah,
can't really get past him. So I don't know. Who knows?
A lot of question marks. Let us know in the comments what you guys think, because that's all that matters to us too. We gave this episode 12 pops to only 3 drops. It was a solid episode of Raw. Raw. And
a lot better than some of the stuff we've been getting.
Yeah, the ending twist was really, really nice. It was great. And of course, it was a lot of fun watching it with all of you on our live stream at youtube.com/COD WrestlePod. We do a Raw, SmackDown, and PLEs so make sure to stop on by every once in a while. It's a lot of fun there. Then for everything else, it's at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. We have a link tree in our bio. It'll take you to all of our social medias. Please go ahead and subscribe, follow, and share all that stuff. We'd love you for it. But I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We will see you next time.